Hey, good morning. This is Tuesday Talks at 10:30. My name's Stacy Niedenthal. This is Tuesday Talks at 10:30, where I come to you every Tuesday at 10:30 and talk to you about meditation and grief and death and dying and meditations and just different things about coming back home. And I come every Tuesday and we just sit and we talk for a little while about things that you may not be comfortable in speaking with other people about, that we just sit and chat for a little while. So let me know if you're on. Make a comment. I'm not seeing any comments yet, but I see there's a couple people that are on. Say hi. Put a 1 if this is the first time you've been on, and let me know where you're watching from. So today, I thought I would talk to you about a past life regression. Hi, Tina. There we go. Hello, Ashley. Now we've got some comments coming in. Good morning. Good morning. So I am in Bel Air, Maryland yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Doing privates, doing group readings. And next month, I will be back in Bel Air, February 20th to the 22nd. There's still some privates that are available. The intimate group reading is sold out. But I'm doing a past life regression on the 22nd at the Center for Trauma. And I've had a couple people ask me about what a past life regression is. So I thought, we would talk about it a little bit. So before we start, hi, Noreen. Before we start, I thought what I always like to do is set my intentions so you know who I am and what I'm about. My name is Stacy. I'm a psychic medium. I'm a spiritual healer. I'm a child of God. And I've been given a gift from God to channel spirit using love and light for my higher good and the higher good of those that God puts in my path. I'm not the medium that says I see death all around you and you're going to be dead in 10 days. My gift, my prayer is that God, that spirit, that angels bring in the most loving message to help your spirit heal. This is part of the intention that you would hear if you were to schedule a reading with me and sit across from me. And there's more to it, but I always just like to state that aspect because all mediums work differently. It doesn't mean one is better than the other one. We all have different modalities. And I'm sitting in Denise's kitchen, so you might hear Benny drinking water or one of the dogs snoring.
Explain why my Christmas decorations are still up. Because I'm still celebrating Christmas.
Denise is still celebrating Christmas, so she wanted to say why her Christmas decorations are still up. She doesn't give up the holidays easily. So, good morning. Good morning, everyone. So next month, I am going to be doing a past life regression at the Center for Trauma here in Bel Air, Maryland. And I just wanted to explain what a regression is. I've had a lot of questions here lately about that, about the fact, I don't know what that is, how does it work? So that's what we're just going to talk about today to give you an idea if you were thinking about doing it. Noreen says she's right there with you, Denise. She's not giving up Christmas either easily.
Love it.
So, what a regression is, it's a gentle, focused state of concentration that helps you to release things that no longer serve you. It's a guided meditation that enables you to tap into your consciousness, to travel back basically in time to remember where you were and what you've done in your past. It's just a deeper understanding so healing can come about. Now, not all past life regressions are traumatic. Sometimes it's a good past life regression where, and I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but sometimes it's a happy memory that you have. Reincarnation basically is a religious or philosophical concept of when this body dies biologically, that it goes on to another body, another shape, another form to live another life. And I truly feel as if when our body passes and our spirit and our soul is released from this body, I feel as if we have a choice whether we want to come back and finish some unfinished business. And it's that spiritual deepening. And when you think about different things, have you ever had a deja vu where you feel like you travel somewhere and you feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've been here before, but you've never traveled to this area before? to me, deja vus are part of past lives. You know, you've been there before in a past life. You may not remember it in this physical body, but something in your subconsciousness makes it feel like it's very familiar. It's a way to release fears and phobias that can be from a past life. For the longest time, and I'm still this way a little bit, it's hard for me to have something close to my neck. And I mean, I've got a turtleneck on this morning, but you can see it's fairly loose. But like, you know, wearing a choker necklace, or it was always very difficult. It was like, you know, something's around my neck, and it just bothers me. It's that fear, it's that phobia, that claustrophobia. Well, when I did a past life regression, I found out that in a past life, I was actually hung, which kind of, to me, explained why things around my neck would bother me. Once I had that understanding of that, I was able to, you know, wear turtlenecks again. And okay, well, this was just a memory from my past life. So if this is something that you were thinking about doing and you have questions about it, you can always, you know, Google past life regressions and what it's about. But there's some prep that you want to do beforehand. Like if you read the event that we're doing at the the Center for Trauma here in Bel Air, Maryland, you know, I say to wear comfortable clothes and to bring a yoga mat. It is in a group setting. I do also do them one-on-one. And if we do it one-on-one, you and I are able to have a conversation during it. In a group setting, you really can't have that conversation because there's, you know, too many people laying there to have a conversation. But you're wearing comfy clothes, you're on a yoga mat, or, you know, maybe you want to bring a pillow or a blanket in case you get cold. Jenny, are you okay? You look tired, my friend. I'm fine. I slept very well last night, so maybe I'm just not awake. Did quite a few readings yesterday. I got quite a few today. I've got 2 privates and a group. So I haven't been up very long. Maybe that's why I still look tired. But yeah, I'm okay. But thanks for asking.
We weren't drinking last night.
We weren't drinking last night. And actually, I went to bed early last night for myself. About 10:30, 11 o'clock. I could barely keep my eyes open. And I know as soon as I hit the bed and got underneath all of my blankets, I passed out. I was just, boom, I was out. So actually, I feel very rested. Maybe you're used to seeing me tired, and seeing me rested makes me look tired. But yes, I'm okay, but thank you. So you're preparing for the past life regression, bringing a yoga mat, wearing comfy clothes. It's a relaxation. You are not in a hypnotic state. It's a guided meditation where I guide you into a relaxation through mind, body, and spirit. I set up protection around you. And what I mean by setting up protection around you is when I'm setting up the meditation for you, while I'm guiding you through this, I say to you, I want you to remember that you are in full control of this past life regression. If at any time you feel that you need to come out of the meditation, all you need to do is open your eyes. I want you to remember that this is just a memory that you are remembering, not something that you are reliving. So I set that protection up. Of course, I've got Archangel Michael around so that no negative energy can come in. Some people get concerned that they're going to bring something back with them. We leave it in the past. We're just remembering and reflecting. So as I'm guiding you in this meditation, as we're relaxing the mind, the body, and the spirit, I walk you through a hallway of doors, basically. And the hallway of doors represent a past life that you have lived. Now, some people, when they get to the hallway of doors, there's only 1 or 2 doors. When I've done when I've had a past life regression done for myself, it's almost like freight trains of doors going by me. And I think to myself, good grief, how many times have I come back around? When can I just stay in glory? Why do I keep coming back? And the answer to that is there's still things that I need to do. There's still unfinished business that I need to do. So I ask you questions so that you remember things. And when you're remembering it, it's difficult sometimes to make the mind believe what you are seeing, believe what you are knowing to be true. Because a lot of times you think that you're making it up. Oh, this is just my imagination. Well, I've always thought that your imagination is still part of you, and there's a reason why that imagination has brought this memory to fruition, brought it back into your mind. It's because it's something from your past. There's several questions. Tina says, I highly recommend this. It was so beneficial for me when I went through it years ago with Sue at Hip Gypsy. When Sue visited Hip Gypsy Emporium and she walked us through a past life regression, that was one of the times where things for me made sense. When she guided us through, I'm trying to think, I've done 2 past life regressions with her. I was on a wagon train basically, and I could see myself, how I was dressed. And even as I'm talking about it, like I see it in my head. It is so real to me that I know that this was a past life. But I'm on a wagon train, and I'm on the wagon, and I've got the reins in my hand, and I've got my leg kind of up on the like the seat, or whatever you want to call it, of the wagon, and we are running from something. And as I'm like making the horses go faster, the wagon actually goes over this rock, breaks the wheel, the wagon falls over onto me, and that's how I die. And when I landed on a rock on my hip. Well, when I was born into this life, I was born with a dislocated hip. So it lets me know that that was probably the life that I was in before this life. So it just kind of gives you those aha moments of why things are the way that they are. But I walk you through the past life regression, and I ask you several questions. And I want you to get a hint of a memory, whether you remember the shoes that you're wearing or the clothes that you have on. I will say to you, and if I were to call your name, what would I say? And names will come to you. What was it? Oh gosh, Shama Raul was one of my names in a past life regression. It just comes to you as you're walking through this. The purpose of a past life regression is it can possibly answer certain questions of where traumas originated. So just like I was saying, I had this fear of wearing things too close to my neck. When I did my past life regression as Shamro, that's where I was hung. It left me know that that's why I have this fear of having things around my neck, that tightness. So it just releases that. It gives me that answer to why do I have this phobia, and it allows me to heal through that, so that wearing things around my neck don't bother me as much as what it used to. How you know when you are regressing, things will feel familiar. It'll feel like it's a dream, but it'll feel so real. Yes, Judy, it could explain a panic disorder. It absolutely could explain that. Whether you were in a large crowd and you were trampled, or, depending on how your panic disorder comes about. And I know with panic, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. But it helps you to kind of put things together so that you're able to realize where it originated from, and to be able to breathe through it so that it makes sense in the brain. So to know that you are regressing, like I said, the dream will feel so real. It's a vivid recall. If you are very drawn to history, or you're very drawn to specific things, if you are, like, let's say you're afraid to swim, or you're afraid of the water, but you love mermaids and the seashore and seashells and things like that. Maybe you were involved in Atlantis, and that's why you're afraid of the water, but you enjoy the water, and the water feels like home. Let's say you're Native American things. You're very drawn to Native American things, but you're not Native American. Maybe you were a Native American in a past life. If you have very masculine or feminine tendencies, maybe like when I was Shama Raul, I was a male. You know, I tend to have very masculine tendencies. I tend to be very protective of my family, of my tribe, right? It just explains those things. But deja vus, I mean, those to me, and it's funny because when you have a deja vu, it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh. And it's almost like you snap into the deja vu. That's part of remembering a past memory. Things that you want to know, you know, not everybody can regress. Not everybody trusts the relaxation that you're going into because of fear of not knowing. Sometimes your first regression, you may not regress very well, and you need a second regression because now you know what to expect. The first regression that I did was okay, but it wasn't as deep as my second because I wasn't totally trusting in the first regression. Tina says, realization of past occurrences can also be very healing, both mentally and physically. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you don't regress the first time, maybe this is your first time on this earth. I mean, there's easy explanations to it. It's just having an open mind to the possibilities that maybe you lived in another life. Noreen, it is always past lives, or can it be earlier in this life? It can absolutely be earlier in this life. I did a past life regression on a woman a couple years ago who traumatically lost her son. And during the past life regression, it took her back to a time that she remembered standing under a tree with her son and her mother, who was also passed. And she was able to remember things that she had, what do you want to call it, pushed down very deeply because of the traumatic way that she lost her son. So it can be something of this life as well. As someone that has fears of things that are confusing, like death, could this be something that you would suggest for me? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a reason why you fear death. There's a reason why. And maybe in a past life, you died traumatically. Maybe you were burned at the stake. Maybe you were, your head was cut off. You know, it could be something that was very traumatic. And so you have a fear of dying. And maybe you died of a crime, for a crime that you did not commit. And your spirit, your energy has not gotten off of the fact that I was innocent and I was killed and it was for something that I did not do, if that makes sense. So you may or may not want to do a past life regression. If you have a fear, what I mean is you may not want to do it in a group setting if you have a fear. Maybe a one-on-one would be better for you, because as you and I are speaking through this regression, I'm also moving energy around in your body, and I am very in touch with your spirit and your energy. It's almost like I'm inside of your energy, so I'm sensing and feeling what you're feeling. And if you start to panic, I'm able to calm you down, and you're able to talk to me and say, I'm afraid to do this. And then I'll say to you, what are you afraid of? Well, this is what I'm seeing. Well, you know what? You and I are going to hold hands, and we're going to walk through this together. This is only a memory that you're remembering and recalling. You are not reliving it. Okay? So you may want to do one session just to see what it's like. If you don't feel as if you regressed very well, a second session may be good for you. I have an issue with relaxing and letting go. Is there something that I could work through? Would it still work for me? it could still very well work for you. And again, Ashley, a private regression might be better for you. I've worked with several people who have insomnia or have problems relaxing and sleeping, and I get them on the table and I'm walking them through a meditation, not necessarily a past life regression, and they fall asleep. So it's trusting the person who is regressing you, trusting the person who is meditating with you enough to let your mind, body, and spirit just breathe. I hope that makes sense to you. And if it doesn't work the first time, like I said, a second one might be good for you, because the fear of not knowing, like I remember the first time Sue did a regression with me, and I didn't know her very well. And my husband and I did the regression together. And I can remember sitting in my living room and she's regressing us. And I remember like opening one eye to be like, what's she doing? She's in my house and I'm in a meditation. What's she doing? And I would close my eyes and I would listen, and then I would open my eyes again. But at one point in this regression where I released my fear, because I have a fear of trusting people I don't know. But when I released it, all of a sudden I felt this pop in my rib. And I remember being like, oh, goodness, you know. And Sue asked me what was wrong. And I said, I just felt my rib pop. And she said, well, hold on a second. And I opened my one eye, you know, just to look at her. And she's like doing this, like she's going through a Rolodex. And she said to me, oh, you had a broken rib in this life. And she named how I got the broken rib, and that I had not released this. And it was a very traumatic time for me. And I was able to release it and let go of that trauma from this existing world. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. But I would be asking you to open up your mind to the universe to give you what you need, to trust in the universe. The universe only wants to give you the very best things. Of course, I call God in with a prayer so that you know that you are protected. I have Archangel Michael there so that you bring nothing back from your past life. It is just memory recall. I do want to say that giving yourself permission to relax helps. And I know that sounds odd, but think about when you're getting ready to go to sleep. If your mind can't rest and you finally say, all right, I need to sleep. I'm giving myself permission to let go of those things from today, and I'm going to rest. You're giving yourself permission to relax. You're giving yourself permission to trust that I'm regressing you and what's going to happen. You are trusting that memories will resolve, will bring up things that may resolve questions that you have about this life. Not all problems that you have in this life stem from a past life regression. I hear other mystics say quite often, oh, you know, you had this very traumatic past life regression and that's why you have Parkinson's disease, because now you're very nervous. We don't know that unless we regress and we find out that something that happened, right? Diseases can come from past lives, but it doesn't always necessarily come from a past life, because the memory has to start somewhere. The experience needs to start somewhere. So it may be that the experience is starting in this life. Okay? You may or may not have been a good person, and that's something that you need to reflect on. I was in an abusive marriage. My first marriage was abusive. And I always wondered why. Why me? Why did this happen? One of my regressions that I did, I was an abusive husband and I killed my wife. It left me know, this is that karmic reaction that I needed to be on the other end of that. It's not true for everybody, but it gave me that unanswered that unanswered question gave me an answer to that. In our conversation at the store, I got really comfortable with you. It feels like that we have talked before, even though we haven't. Oh, I know who this is now. Okay, absolutely. Absolutely. You may feel like we have met in a past life. I do have a lot of people say to me that they're very comfortable talking to me, even before I was a medium or knew that I was a medium. I would have people just come to me and just open up to me about problems and questions. So I know I'm very easy to talk to, a very good listener, and I try to be as honest with people as possible when they're just asking for advice on things. But one of my strengths, I guess I'm going to say, is that God has blessed me with the ability to make people feel very comfortable around me, or very uncomfortable if it needs to be. So, realizing that during this past life regression, that you may not have been a good person in a past life, may also answer a question of why now you were a people pleaser. Why now you have to have validations from everyone. Why you're very timid now. Because maybe you were overly confident then and you hurt a lot of people and you were not a good person. So now you're seeing what it's like to be on the other side. There are people in your past that have followed you through several lifetimes. One of the past life regressions that I did that I talked about, my sister was actually my niece in a past life, and her parents, my brother and sister-in-law, was killed, and I raised my sister in a past life as her aunt. To me, that explains why, even though I'm the younger sister, I've always been very protective of her. And people will say to me, are you the older sister? Because if something needs to be done, not that she doesn't do it, I don't want to say it that way, but if it's a difficult thing to do, I just take up the reins and feel like I need to do it, that I need to protect her. I remember one time, I think she was like 17, and we were driving on 81. So I'd have been 14. Yeah, I'd have been 14. And our car broke down. And no cell phones at that time. And I remember looking at her and saying, you stay in the car. And I got out of the car and I was flagging down cars to help us. And when she got out of the car, I'm like, get back in that car. I felt as if I needed to protect her. So you'll find these things out of why I feel so protective of my sister, or I feel older than her, I guess, or responsible for her being protected. It's because in another life, I raised her. My brother and sister-in-law, my brother and sister were killed, and I had to raise her. So know that there are people who will follow you in your life, and sometimes you have to resolve something in this lifetime that wasn't resolved in a past lifetime. Maybe you were someone famous. I did a past life regression for a woman, and we found out that she was a very famous Hollywood medium, which was kind of cool. And she was just starting to learn about her skills in this lifetime. It may not be a comfortable memory that you have, but it's a memory. You are not reliving it. It may answer questions that you've had for a while. So if you are thinking about attending the past life regression, there is a link in the event, and it's in the Bel Air area. But there's a link there that you can click and get a ticket. There's a good many tickets that are still left for February. Is that February 23rd, Denise? 22nd, 23rd? All right, uno momento. I have it written down somewhere. It's that Wednesday. The 22nd. Here we go. So it's February 22nd at the Center for Trauma which I think is a very interesting place to have it because maybe there was a trauma. We've done a past life regression there before. I think we had 25 people laying on the floor, and it was a very comfortable setting, a very warm and inviting setting. You know, we'll have music that's playing. Maybe there'll be a candle that's lit. I will walk through as I'm talking. If I see that you're in distress, you know, I'll move some energy around. If I feel like you're falling asleep, I may tap your shoulder. It's funny. Denise and I did a past life regression together, and they kept tapping on her shoulder because they thought she was falling asleep, and she was actually being drugged by a rope. Yeah, you were being hung with me. Yeah, and it's funny. It's funny. The same past life regression that I was hung, she was hung as well. And when I was Shama Raul and I was hung, Denise was in my tribe and was one of the people that witnessed me being hung. So she was choking, and they thought she was snoring. So, you know, it's just different experiences that you'll have. But if you're thinking about it, you know, click on the event, do a Google search on what a past life regression is and see if it feels like something that you want to experience. It's not for everybody, and that's okay. If you're not comfortable in doing it in a group setting, I have my office in Chambersburg that we can do the past life regression just one-on-one, just us, or we can do it here at the studio in Bel Air, you know, just one-on-one if you're a Maryland person. I've done them via Zoom, and they can be done. I'm not as comfortable doing them via Zoom, only because if I need to like wake you up, I can't touch you. I have to do it vocally, which is generally easy to do, but I just like to be able to be in touch with you. Let me think. So know that it's not always bad memories or traumas that come up. It's just a way to remember who you were, what you did. And I mean, it's just kind of curious to me. I never really believed in reincarnation when I was younger. But when I started having more and more deja vus, when I opened up more to spirit and the universe, in conversations with God, and just, you know what? The body dies, but the soul and the spirit go on to do things that it needs to do. Why wouldn't the spirit come back if it still had more things to do? Make sense? So remember that it's a relaxation. You're not hypnotized. It's a concentrated focus in your mind's eye, in your energy, in your spirit, that we guide you into remembering things that could possibly answer questions about why things are the way they are for you. Also remember that sometimes you need to be very patient with yourself because you have to go through the worst to heal, to get to the best. So that's what a past life regression looks like. That's what a past life regression is. It's basically a guided meditation of relaxation to remember, to heal, to work through things, to have questions answered. I think I've been regressed maybe 5 times. Trying to think. I did twice with Sue, once with Terry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've done it 5 times myself. And each time was an interesting outcome. Forgiveness was one of the things that came through for me one time when I was, there was this big, oh God, what are they called? Like the manta ray fish that was like swimming towards me during the past life regression, and the stinger or the tail, whatever you want to call, came down into my heart, and all I heard was, you need to forgive. You need to forgive. And then I was getting pictures in my mind of people I had grudges on or had hurt me, and I just needed to forgive. And I can remember the vibration of this tail in my heart that just kept saying, you need to forgive. And then I would see something and I forgive you, I release you, I forgive myself, I release myself, Godspeed. and different things would come up, and I was able to release those things and forgive them and know that those things that I went through did not define me. They were holding me back, but it made me who I was today because of the lessons from that. Those are just some of the experiences that I had with a past life regression. I don't know. I just felt as if, well, I was kind of nudged to talk about what a past life regression was. Denise and I were talking last night, and she was like, what are you going to talk about tomorrow? And honest to God, I was so tired. I'm like, I don't know. I just want to go to sleep. I'll work on my past life, or I'll work on my Tuesday Talks at 10:30 tomorrow morning. And she's like, you should talk about a past life regression. We're doing one in February. Not everybody is familiar with what that is, so I think that you should do that. So
I'm very bossy, aren't I?
She can be very bossy. She really can be.
Just trying to help.
So this is not an SOS. I'm not in trouble. I'm not in what's the word?
The doghouse.
Yeah, I'm not in the doghouse. But so that's Tuesday Talks at 10:30 today. Talking about past life regressions. If this is something that you're interested in, click the link, purchase your ticket, or private message me for a past life regression. You can also go on the website to schedule appointments now. But know that with all of my being, I pray that you live the life that you love and that you love the life that you live. If not, you're the only one that can change it. So today and every day, I love you. I'm sending healing love to you. I do have a 12 o'clock appointment that I need to get ready for. So I hope you have a great day. And
see you next month.
We'll see you next month at the Past Life Regression. But I will talk to you next Tuesday at 10:30. And have a great day. All right. Peace out, everybody. Bye-bye.